It is Saturday. We are live. We are going to do some stuff around the shop. And I got you set up here where I can actually see you real good so I can read your comments. As you know, if you're following this, for now, this bike is just about done until the weather breaks a little more. We had a little bit of a break this week. Unfortunately, I was extremely busy with my day job as well as finishing this bike up. So I didn't really get a chance to take it out and tune the carburetor better than it is. It's got a base tune here, but I need to actually ride it. So the last few things that need done on this machine are going to be basically just putting the wrench to every nut and bolt on the bike, making sure she's safe and good to go, because when I tune it in, I've got to run it all the way up to max RPM. In other words, 80 miles an hour, down to nothing. Stop, let it cool, pull the plugs, take a reading on the plugs, put them back in. If I need to make any adjustments, make them. 80 miles an hour, down to nothing. Stop, pull the plugs. See what I'm saying? So she's got to be in tip-top shape. This is old school. This is how they did it in the 60s, 70s, 50s, 40s. This is how they always did it. I don't have a dynamometer. So this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. Basically, we're saving that for tomorrow. Today, I'm going to clean the shop up a little bit because I've been super busy. I got shit laying everywhere. It is a total and complete mess. And I actually decided to wear some half-decent clothes. Y'all talk about I look like I'm homeless all the time, so it is what it is. But yeah. So let me get to doing what I'm doing here. As I said, I have got just tools and crap absolutely laying everywhere. It's driving me nuts. Between work and living life, I'm fitting in my wrenching sessions when I can, essentially, which kind of sucks to a point. A lot of times it means, I got like 2 hours here, an hour there type of deal. And a lot of times tools and shit don't get put away. And dude, if you work on anything, you know that is exactly how you lose things. We did a quick live Thursday night, and that was just a matter of going over what I had done Thursday as far as turning wrenches on this bike. And not a lot of information, not a lot of wrenching. I think one thing that sets me aside from some other YouTubers is when I do these videos, okay, there's lots of guys that work on motorcycles in their videos. Lots of them. I could start naming them, but you probably already know. You probably already watch them. And the shit they don't show you that they edit out is some of their struggles along the way. And I try to show you guys by being live, showing you that I'm a human being just like you. And if I can do this, anyone can do this. That being said, it's a little more difficult to work on something knowing you have an audience. At times, like one of these live videos caught, good God, 15,000 views. So essentially, I got 15,000 people watching me, sometimes watching me mess up. I'm a human being like everybody else. We all make mistakes. We all mess something up once in a while. It happens. So that is the struggle of doing live wrenching videos the way I do. And that's something I noticed most of the YouTubers I watch do not do. Tony Angelo, that's another Pennsylvania guy. He's into cars. He did a live video tearing down the engine in one of his cars. It had already blown up, but watching him and over the weekend watching old Derek from Vice Grip Garage, I watched both of their videos they dropped. And you can see in one part, Derek's taking a fuel tank out of his truck. So he needs to put a heavier duty fuel pump in there because he's adding a supercharger to the truck, requiring more fuel because of more air, you know. And he's really struggling. And it cuts, the video just straight cuts to the fuel tank's back up in, and they do a real quick time-lapse montage type thing where 3-4 guys come in and help them. He didn't show you the struggle. And I get it, and I don't. We all want to look like a master of our craft. Like I'm the shit, you know. I do not. I am just me. Hey, what's up? There's 2070. Massive, fucking fantastic. Right on, dude. And thank you. Like I said, that's why I do these videos live like this, to try to, I guess in a way, like maybe humble myself, right? I'm just a human being. I'm a guy that likes motorcycles. I didn't go to school for this. I just been doing it all my life. You know, I have the money to own brand new bikes. I really like working on these old ones. It's fun for me. It's just as much fun in the winter when I can't ride them because the weather's so crappy. This is what I do. And to me, this is a whole lot of fun. So I figured I could share that with you, maybe share some knowledge. We're going to move over here. I finally ran out of this stuff. I only had just a little tiny spit left in the bottle. There's enough to wash my hands a couple more times. So I finally broke down and bought another bottle of it. But as you can tell, I work hard for a living, and I turn my wrenches in between. My hands are ripped up. That's all the cleaner they come. I literally just wash my hands before I come down here. But yeah, let me get a few minutes here and just get the shop halfway straightened up. Those of you who watched me struggle with tires, you're coming in from that. This is that Shinko front tire, okay? The sidewalls of these are ridiculously hard. I actually got it on the rim with tire tools rather easily. It wasn't that much of a struggle. But if you watched, I absolutely struggled to seat the bead on this. I did every trick in the book. Off camera, I took it out in the middle of my yard at night when nobody was watching. I filled it with ether, and I tried to do the boom, blow it up with ether. That did not work either. Well, I took it to a local bike shop to see if maybe I'm doing something wrong. And he looked, he said, yeah, Shinko. He's, who mounted it? I says, I did. He said, you got a machine? I said, no, man, tire tools. And he looked at me and his jaw hit the floor. Hey, I just wanted to prove I could do it. I did it years ago. That is kind of the problem with the Shinko tires. So that same bike shop, and I'll name them by name because they did me a solid, Valley Cycles, North Versailles, Pennsylvania, Valley Cycles. I told him, I'm like, Holmes, I will pay you $50 if you could seat the bead on this tire. Pulled cash. Said, yeah, let me try it. He couldn't get it either with his machine. He come back out. He goes, this is why we charge extra for Shinkos. Normally it takes a machine and 2 people to get it on. So what he did do was he price matched where I get my tires online. And he sold me this Dunlop D404, which technically this is usually what I would run on a bike like this. This isn't my bike. This is a friend of mine fixing it, but that's a D404 Dunlop. Okay. That is a Harley Davidson made by Dunlop Elite, but it has the D404 pattern. And this is very similar. This is the Elite Dunlop. It's got the Harley badge. They're a little bit better made, and they last a little longer, the Harley Davidson ones. It's usually, a lot of folks will talk about you're paying for the branding. When you do buy the Elite Series Dunlop, you do get more miles out of them. I've been there. I've done it. I've ran them. There is a difference. These are the tires that came off of the Sportster. These are the Dunlop Elite Series Harley Davidson. It's basically the same tread pattern as the 404. They are from 1997. That bike is in 1997. It has 3,000 900 miles. It is essentially brand new, which is one of the reasons why we chose it to do what we're doing. Is I really don't have a lot of mechanical work. The work I had to do this bike needed done simply because of the amount of time that this motorcycle sat. Needed a carb rebuild, needed tires, brake system flush. The fellow that had it before me put on a new front brake line. The old one was dry rotted and cracked, and he flushed that system. He did not do the rear. The brake fluid does look like it's 30 years old. That is one of the last things I'm going to have to do before I actually take this machine for a shakedown run. And as you know, I rode it around town here. I made a video, it was a Sportster 883, enough bike for a big guy. Look, I rode it in my neighborhood. Granted, I got it up to 40 miles an hour a few times, but that's even too fast for these neighborhood streets. The speed limit is 25 or so. Wasn't too worried about having 30-year-old tires doing that. Now, what I'm going to be doing, tuning the carburetor in, we're going to have to pretty much top the engine out to ensure that the mixture is correct throughout the entire RPM range and in all the throttle positions from fully closed to wide open throttle. So knowing I'm going to be ripping down the road, we're going to flush the rear brakes. The brake pads are pretty much full. There is no worry with that. Could I put new ones on? Yes. I really don't think I have to. Are they old? Yes, they are from 1997, but sometimes older things are just made better. So we're going to rock and roll with the original brake pads on this bike and just see what they do before we mess with them. The latest from my Amazon business account. So since we're messing with a solid mounted engine on an old Sportster, every nut and bolt pretty much on this bike needs this stuff, medium grade Loctite. Every nut and bolt. So the local auto parts, a little tube of that stuff runs you like $9. Well, through Amazon business, was able to get this big ass bottle. It's not Loctite brand. It's the same thing. It will work. It's like $6 for a big bottle like this. So that's what we did. And this is something here that I honestly don't really foresee myself needing much at all in the future, but I wanted to have it. Because when you do need this, you need this. And this is a set of star keys, also known as Torx. I did not buy a very expensive brand simply because you're going to need these once in a blue moon. But one of the jobs that we're going to be doing here on this bike coming up, and you'll see this in a live, and I'll teach you guys how to do it, is we are going to put extended fork tubes on this bike. 4-inch extensions. So basically, this all comes apart. This comes out of the triple tree, and this chrome tube, we're buying longer ones. We have shorter shocks for the back, so we're going to rake the whole bike out. And this is weird. These usually always have a hex key, Allen key right there holding them in. This bike has Torx. Matter of fact, let me look at my Dyna Super Glide over here. Yeah, this has a hex key, Allen key. For some reason, this bike has Torx keys. So to make my life easier, I have a chintzy set. And I went and ordered a half decent set. And it comes with the different accoutrements. It should be probably this one, maybe this guy right here. When you need these, you absolutely need them. Yeah, see, that's a good tight fit. Maybe I need to be the next size down. Yep. So I'm going to have to take this apart to take these out. And rather than use the L key, set of Torx, I have this, which this will go right onto my torque wrench. I have the calibrated elbow, but something like this, you're going to want to torque that to spec. So it's nice to be able to not guess with a L-shaped key actually have a bit that will go onto my Allen key. Some of the smaller ones like this, they'll probably honestly never get used. I'll still use the L key because screw this size and where it is, you're not going to fit a ratchet head in very easily to get to it. So, but we got them. You know, we got them. It is what it is. They probably never get used, but we got them. Figure out exactly where we're going to stash them. We'll be okay. Here's an empty drawer. I don't need the box they came in. So yeah, you're not going to see a lot of wrenching out of me today, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry about that. I do have a life outside of my garage, and I do have some prior engagements that I've got to take care of, which is also why we're starting this late in the morning. Stupid shop things that you should have that'll make your life super easy. You can get a set of these dial calipers as low as $15 on Amazon. I highly recommend you should have one. You don't need a $300 pair of Mitchell toy ones or $150 Brown and Sharps. You don't need digitals. But if you got to measure something right quick, you know, measure your outside diameter here, inside diameter here, and the depth, and read it on the dial here up to an inch. See, like right here, if that's lined up at 5, that's exactly half inch, 5 100,000ths, you know, 5 105,000ths. Really nice to have these. Something as simple as adjusting your belt or your chain on your motorcycle. This makes your adjustment so much more accurate than a ruler. Whereas you would go back here on your chain adjuster and just simply give her one of these, measure how much your chain adjuster's out, boom, and match it up with the other side. You could also take the points like this and eyeball, because, you know, from here to here, you're still doing slightly an eyeball, but you can make sure your axle is straight. And in my opinion, much more accurate than doing that with a ruler, which old school fellas, that's how they're going to do it. I like one of these. I initially went to school to be a machinist. I ended up being, well, I work at a steel mill. Technically, I'm a truck driver, but I don't drive on the road. I just move stuff around in a steel mill. So I pretty much don't use any of my education, but a machinist will use these every day. And this is the equivalent to a mechanic to a machinist. This is the equivalent of a hammer versus an actual impact wrench. They would use a much more accurate measuring device than this. But as far as a mechanic working on stuff in your garage or shop, however you're doing, that's more than accurate for anything you're going to want to do. See, what else have we got? It's kind of generally going around and policing things up as I go, straightening the stuff up. You know, stuff like this, 271 red Loctite. You almost never need it, but when you do, you do. You're going to use the blue a lot more, hence the reason of buying the larger bottle of blue. Let me put these guys up here for now. Get them out of the way, but at least I'll know where they are. Yeah, dude, the viewership has gone way up. The subs have gone way up, man. I really appreciate you guys coming down here to hang out with me for the day. I realize not every video I make is something that's interesting to someone. I get it, man. But the live stuff, that's a different story. I feel like regardless of whether I'm actually working on a Japanese metric bike or a Harley Davidson, I could still teach you something, some kind of lesson, as far as turning wrenches on bikes and stuff. So, and that's why I do this, to hopefully get more people into motorcycling. Maybe you don't got enough money or a good enough credit score to buy a new bike, so you buy one of these older bikes in the hopes of fixing them up. That's what I'm here for. That's what I've done all my life. And like I said, now I'm in a position where I can afford a new bike. I like to fix these old ones. It's fun for me, especially when I can't ride. So I'd like to see more people getting into that. Another indispensable when you actually need it tool to keep in your garage is step bits, Christmas tree bits. Cheap as they are, you'd be a fool not to have a set laying around. Switch, nope. This drawer. I'm still getting used to this. Good friend of mine gave me this toolbox. I fixed up an ATV for his son that was having some issues, just basically sitting with old gas in it and needed the carburetor cleaned up and adjusted. And I refused to take payment. He's my buddy. Well, he refused to not pay me. So he got a new roller box for Christmas and gave me that one, which is kind of really awesome of him, man. He didn't have to do that. I'm used to actually working out of like Tupperware bins and tubs and stuff like that. If you're new to the channel, you're seeing this shop. If you're not new to the channel, well, maybe you don't remember the old shop or never seen the old shop. I used to work out of a tiny little one-car garage. Barely enough room. I had 5 motorcycles in it. And yeah, in general, it kind of sucked a lot. And now that I have this place, it's just been slowly. We moved here in August. It took quite a while to find. I didn't want to pay rent on a shop. I didn't want to have to build a garage from scratch. So it took a while to find an actual house with a garage like this. This is actually, this room here obviously isn't my home. There's a 3-bedroom house up on a hill that I live in. And this is on my property back behind my house, which is kind of cool because I keep my overhead down. I don't work on a lot of bikes for folks. It's a matter of my day job pays the bills. This is a hobby, so I don't have to charge insane prices to fix your bike because, like, I'm already paying a mortgage on this place, and I don't have to worry about paying $2,000 a month rent. Another thing that good to have around, but you're almost never going to use, PB Blaster silicone. Regular PB Blaster, that'll kind of eat up rubber. This will work good for changing tires, or in an example where, let's say, a crank snout on an LS series Chevrolet engine, you got to pull the pulley off of it, right? Well, you're going to heat it, soak it. PB Blaster can booger up that seal a little bit, that rubber seal, whereas this silicone stuff, this won't. So anything nylon, plastic, you can lube up with this. Anything rubber, this will not hurt. And it's a regular lubricant. I used, cripes, almost a third of the can changing them Shinko tires. So what's that tell you, But it's something to have on your shelf. Put it in the back. Maybe you use it, maybe you won't, but it's something worth having. We've got a few more tools up over here to change, put away. On the discussion of tire changing tools, okay? A fella I work with, younger kid, he's real into dirt bikes. Well, if you ride dirt bikes, you're going to change your tires a lot. They chew them up, right? Especially when you got something like a Honda CRF 450 or Kawasaki 450. Those bikes got a lot of wheel spin and they chunk up tires bad. Well, I hadn't changed the tires since the late 90s. I usually just take them to a shop. I spend the money and I have the shop change them for me. Well, I decided just for the channel and to show you guys, you can do it yourself. I ordered a set of tire tools. eBay, Well, I was telling a kid at work, and he recommended these. He got his from Temu. I got mine from Amazon. And if you go back through and watch that live video, the one that says changing tires, yeah, Wi-Fi cut out on me for a second, so you didn't get to see that. I had to restart the phone up, but you could see me actually fight the tires on. These kind of came in handy as far as getting a tire levered on. They're nice because you can slide them in some places, but they don't have that bend. So as far as levering a tire on a rim, you will find that goofy little bend on either side. That makes your life a bit easier. I ended up using all 6 of these to get these stinking Shinkos on the rims. But I found that these worked out a lot better for me in the long run. So, use discretion as far as which one you want to take. The set from Temu is like $10. Comes with these and rim protectors. I think I paid $15 just for these 3, and I did not get rim protectors from Amazon, but I was able to overnight them through my business account to here to my house. So take that for what that is. This is the evil box. I hate these. I don't ever want to see these again. If you bring me your bike with stripped out screws and broken bolts, I talk in a thing that I normally would do about half shop rate, but if I have to pull these out because you stripped the screw, throw that discount out the window. I absolutely hate. And one thing you'll find watching my videos, I bring this up a lot. I absolutely hate dealing with stripped out fasteners, especially when it's so easy to ensure that you do not strip fasteners. Just about any idiot can do this. Use good quality tools. You don't have to have snap-on tools. You can use the Harbor Freight Pittsburgh stuff, but when they get worn out, things like an Allen key, star key, when they get worn out, either grind them flat again or throw them away. Use the proper screwdriver. Metric bikes is in Japanese. Do not use Phillips head screws. They use this. This looks like a Phillips head screw, doesn't it? That's not. These are JIS, Japanese industrial screw. The angle is just a little bit different. So if you're tearing apart a carburetor on an old Honda and you're having a hell of a time getting the screw out with your Phillips head, this is why. That's not a Phillips head. It's not much of a difference, but I promise you it is a difference. You don't have to have an expensive set. These will fit in a regular screwdriver bit and stuff like doing carburetors. They're absolutely freaking indispensable. Buy a set. This was less than $10. Buy it, throw it in your toolbox, forget about it. Trust me, you'll thank me later. Another stupid thing to have, but helps. You want to change your own tires? Avoid paying a shop. Spend, $15 to $20 on one of these heat guns. You want to pull like decals off of something that have been stuck forever. This is your best friend. Stuff like that. Love me some Black Rifle coffee, folks. Absolutely freaking love me some Black Rifle coffee. Dollar store, thrift store, terry cloth towels are indispensable. Cut them up, turn them into shop rags, etc., etc. Why not have a bunch? All right. What else we got to do? Pick up around here. That's what you're from. Tub of soapy water from changing tires. All right. Holy hell, I can see my workbench. Like, damn. Anybody will see my workbench in 2 weeks. And hey, according to this, the views are kind of high right now. They were peaking up over 100. Look, I'm going to tell you something right quick. Smoking cigarettes is really bad for you, huh? You know what else is bad for you? Watching my videos without hitting the subscribe and like button. Come on. I promise you. If you don't like my content, I'll refund you every penny you spend on the subscription. Dig? All right, where are we at? I'm going to put some stuff away over here. I recently picked up this little compressor as well for the shop here. It ain't a very big or powerful one, but for what I do, air up a tire. Oh shit, I almost knocked my phone over. You know, getting ready to pull spark plugs out of an engine and give it one of them to make sure there's no dirt and debris, you know, indispensable. Because I was airing my tires up with this piece of crap, which works, but it's so much nicer to have a small compressor. And you can paint things with that. You're not going to sandblast with it. You could sort of run an impact with it for a little bit, but that's obviously not enough volume to do something like that. And that's not what it was bought for. This was bought so that I can air up tires, change a tire, that type thing. Or if I'm drilling a hole with my drill press, I can use the air blast to remove the chips from the hole. That's very, very useful in that manner. Put that back in the abrasives cabinet. Holy hell, I'm starting to see things again. Shop's clean. Put this back together. I'd drill a hole and the vibration on the belt cover here to change the speeds on this. The vibration loosened up the little handle from it, so fix that up right quick. And basically, I think tomorrow, the goal will be live again tomorrow, probably around noon. Same thing. I try to go live around the same time. And today was basically just, dude, I try to keep my word, and I say I'm going to do a live every Saturday around 11 o'clock noon. So I'm on here, but I do have other things I got to do. So, yeah, we're live for just a few minutes here. The next half hour, maybe. Basically just cleaning the shop up a little bit, or I can figure out what I'm doing with what. And then tomorrow, we're gonna try to restore a motorcycle seat. In other words, a lot of handwork with saddle soap and mink oil. It's sat outside for like 3 years. It's toast. I'm gonna see if I can save it for my buddy. He doesn't want to put any more money in his bike, and we don't want to just duct tape up the seat. So it's probably going to be tomorrow. And tomorrow, I think we're going to put the finishing touches on that Sportster so I could take it for a little shakedown run, which will be, you know, hitting every nut and bolt that I touch, double checking everything, flush the rear brake fluid. And then hopefully next week we'll get a day. It doesn't look like we're going to, but we'll get a day where it's nice enough I can actually take it out and ride it a little bit. All right, I got tools put away, shop cleaned up. Got some work to do on this Sportster here. I should have the parts. Fella said in about a week or so he'll be bringing me the parts to finish it. And doesn't need much. Needs a clutch. The problem is, last person to install a clutch on this rounded out a few screws here, and I literally had to drill the heads off, and the primary inspection cover, primary chain inspection cover, these were both rounded. I got really lucky and got this one out. This one, I did everything I could. Drilled it, put an easy out in it, broke an easy out. Basically, at this point, you got to drill it from the backside and rethread it. We're not going through all that. I found him a used cover for around $100, and I sent him the link to that. It's just buy the used cover. He's a big man like myself. We're actually about 5 pounds difference. So with the clutch, I had him order a Barnett's heavy-duty clutch spring. Barnett. I've used Barnett clutches most all my life. Barnett, EDC, those are good brands. Throw a Barnett clutch in something, you're putting quality in it. Let's see, I guess we can also, while we're in here doing this, we can go over the list of stuff that we did and didn't do on Sportster, and we can start wiping stuff off the list. It is time. So let's do that real quick. I like to have these whiteboards. They're super cheap, and they make your life easier as far as keeping track of what you did. All right. We didn't check the transmission oil yet, so we're going to leave that on the board. But we checked the primary chain tension and the oil, and it's good. And we verified that the rear brake pads are good. We do need a brake fluid flush, so we're going to put that back on the board, but let's take it off and rewrite it so it's a little more legible. We removed the extra. This had spotlights on it. I did not like them. They don't look good. I took them off. We can remove that. Dry erase, right? But when you leave something on there for a few months, you need a squirt or something. Belt tension. Well, we just had the rear wheel off, so we adjusted the belt tension when we put the rear wheel back on, so that's good. Wheel and neck bearings, we had all that apart. We checked all that. We replaced the air filter as well. So we're almost done with the XLH 883. We have got to move you guys so you can see what the hell I'm writing. We have got to flush brake fluid in rear. We have verified that the fluid in the front is crystal clear. It was done not very long ago. It is perfectly serviceable. And we want to touch every nut and bolt with a wrench. So we're just going to go with check every nut and bolt. I do believe, yeah, as far as functionality and taking her for a little rip there, I do believe that's about everything else we got to do to that bike. You know, that's where we're at for the shakedown. Now, when we go to install the other stuff, we'll change that out. But for now, I'd say that's pretty much good. Get to my monstrosity of a workbench, and let's go ahead and start knocking stuff off the list here on the Suzuki Marauder, which has been in my garage since before Christmas. Well, wait a minute. Now, is it after Christmas? Honestly, I do not remember. It was right around Christmas it came in here. We are down to pretty much the last few things. It does need a chain and sprocket, and the owner is just going to run it for a little bit. So this is everything we did. We fixed the front brakes, new master cylinder. We fixed the starter switch, got new tires. The front header was loose with bad gaskets. We changed that. We inspected the brakes. So we can get rid of all this. And it still needs a battery. I'm waiting for him to bring me a battery. Charlie, if you're watching, you little fucker, bring me a battery for your bike so I can get it on the road and out of here. That's the last thing that bike needs to be ridden is a battery. It needs a lot more love than that, but as far as being ridden down the road and being safe to ride down the road, we're going to need a battery. This gentleman here, Philips High Performance HD, is still, as far as I know, still watches my stuff. And he is the one who worked on my Super Glide before I got it. Phil, dude, hit me up with your email. I got that there, but I can't find you nowhere, bud. Find me on Facebook, hit me up with your email, drop it in the comments on one of my videos. He's got some parts that I could definitely use for that bike. All right, so we got, where's our other, right here. So for the Marauder, we're going to need a battery. Lube the chain again. I soaked it in PB Blaster and a few different things to get it loosened up, but H's look like A's. Dang it. It's hard to write at a goofy angle. And in general cleanup. And then we're going to inspect all the work we did. That list was full not long ago. Now it's not. So it's the name of that tune. That bike is almost ready to hit the road. I cannot wait. I'm telling you, I cannot wait. I got to turn the heat down in here. This garage is insulated pretty good. I should get some drywall or something and put on the walls to make it look a little nicer, but it's functional. We don't really worry about looks as much as we do function. Once you get it up to 55 degrees, for me is comfortable. I like to wear long sleeves if I have a comfortable shirt like this that, you know, it's just a little whatever. Yeah, it keeps some dirt off of me. All right. We're just about bingo time here. We'll do some Q&A if you guys have any questions for me. Or, you know, we can start this old Harley up and let you listen to her. I mean, that's just music to my ears. Ain't no better sound in the world than that. Turn the fuel on. Hit her with a little bit of choke. Key. A couple of pumps. Hit the starter. Not bad for a carbureted bike on a cold day. And it was 45 degrees when I walked in here. So, yeah. Sportsters are a little different animal. They're a little more cold-blooded than a big twin, just slightly. Just I have found, especially when you do like a stage one on them like this with drag pipes and an open air cleaner and the carburetor rejetted. But if your carb is tuned right, she'll fire up and idle right away without a lot of choke. As you notice, once it was idling, we kind of fed the choke off, gave it a little more throttle, and it took throttle right away. I do know that I do have this carburetor just a twinge rich, and it is like that for a reason. I would much rather it be rich than lean. If I go back in through and I fine tune it, which we're going to do here once the weather breaks and we can actually ride it and get a feel of the performance, we might lean it out a little. We might leave it rich. It depends on the color of the plugs. But a bike that is slightly rich is going to fire up in cold weather for you a lot better. The deal with carbureted bikes, cold weather, it running rich in cold weather, that's good. The air temperature is down, meaning the molecules in the air are denser and you're going to get a hotter burn. On a 90-degree day, this bike will run way too rich. We're going to have to back that down. But for this weather now, it's just a twinge rich, which is good for all intents and purposes on what I'm actually doing with this machine right now. Modern bikes like my Electric Glide, you don't have to think about it. It's fuel injected. You just hit the key and it starts, Stuff like my Super Glide, it's a little more finicky. High compression pistons. It's got a mild camshaft on it. Open pipes, S&S Super E carburetor. This is something like a matter of on a 90-degree day, I've got to reset the idle mixture. But then when it gets cold, it's going to be running too lean. So she's a little more finicky, whereas that Sportster, all stock internals. It's a stock, Harley Davidson CV40, also known as a Kian CV40. Yes, it's got a Japanese carb on it. Harley purists, that's how they came. Every Evo came with a Japanese carb, deal with. But they're a whole lot less finicky than an engine that's been breathed on slightly. You could run a lower octane grade fuel in that engine and it'd be just fine, whereas something like that with a higher compression, it's got a Dynatec ignition, it's advanced just a tick. Yeah, you're going to want a little bit of better gas. What we got here? Carlos Victor Guzman Clark. Hey, what's up, Carlos? That your name is a mouthful. We're just going to call you Carlos. Okay, bro? How you doing, buddy? If you're new to this, man, hit that like and subscribe button. Today, you're not seeing a whole lot beyond me just cleaning up the shop and flapping at the jaws a little bit. As I spoke to earlier in the videos, when I do work on these bikes, I like to do it live. I like to show folks that when you watch a YouTube video of someone just fixing something, they edit out all the stuff that they struggle with, a bolt that's hard to get to or won't come out, and it makes it look like it's that easy, and it's sometimes it's not that easy. I really like to do these, live videos as far as wrenching. I really like to do that to show folks that, hey, man, I'm a human being. I make mistakes like everybody else. I'm an idiot. If I can do this, you can do this. So that's the idea behind the live stuff. But, oh, man. All right, we got a little bit of time left to be live, and then I got to go. If you're, I guess, a fan, whatever, of the channel, and you've watched the channel for a while, you'll know that I picked up a second car just before Halloween. I didn't really need it, but I got a hell of a deal on it. I picked up a 2008 Hyundai Sonata with it literally has 85,000 original miles. It's a one-owner car. And I was going to flip it. I got it that cheap. This section of Pennsylvania, a running inspected car, even a pile of crap that's falling apart, people sell them for $3,000. I paid $800 for this car, and everything works. It's got the better interior and all that, and everything works in it. It's in good shape. It's perfectly drivable. I would drive it myself for 3 years, probably doing nothing more than changing oil, maybe doing the brakes once. Well, Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports Never got a license. She has 2 kids, and she had them when she was very, very, very young. She never really had money to have a car and never had anyone in her life to really teach her how to drive. Well, her kids are grown. They, left the nest. They're doing their own thing. I bought that car to either flip it or to teach her to drive. And the reason I was a little bit late this morning is we had to go through some hoops to get her permit, her driver's license permit. And one of them was getting a birth certificate, which she hasn't had in God only knows. So the research that, find it, pay for it, have it delivered here, it took a couple of months. She just passed her permit test, so she can legally drive. She may or may not have driven that car in the back roads a little bit just to learn, but now she can legally drive, which at noon, in 10 minutes here, I'm going to leave the garage, shut you guys down, and we're going to take Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports out towards where my dad lives in another part of Pennsylvania, about half hour down the road here. A lot of country back roads, no one's on them. Good place to learn how to drive. It's where I learned how to drive. I've been a commercial truck driver since 2000, 26 years. I have trained literally hundreds of people to drive. Now, to get a commercial truck driver's license, you have to go to school, but that just started within the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years. Prior to that, you would jump in a cab with someone like me and I would teach you how to drive. So if I taught that many people to drive a commercial truck, I could teach Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports how to drive a Hyundai. So that's what we're doing this afternoon. Which is why you're not seeing me cursing and yelling and throwing wrenches at this bike, because, well, for the most part, it's done. I do want to come down here and tinker a little bit tomorrow. We're going to save that rest of that for tomorrow. I just wanted to clean up the shop. I had a long day at work yesterday. Friday nights, we usually go out and have dinner and pick up whatever we need from whatever stores. And by the time we got back here, it was already going on, good God, 7:30 at night. And as you know, I'm out the door at 4 in the morning. I was tired. I said I will clean the shop tomorrow. And, well, that's what you guys got to watch. I appreciate you spending your Saturday morning with me. Your support means a lot, man. That's why I do this. Figure if I could reach out to some folks, get you into motorcycles, regardless of your financial status. Maybe get some folks turning wrenches on their own bikes. That's what I want to see. There's one too many old dead motorcycle on Marketplace, and it drives me nuts. I can't save them all. I wished I could. I believe in rescuing dogs too. I got a pit bull that nobody else wanted. Very few people understand her. She is an awesome dog, man. But people are afraid of pit bulls. My pit bull would just as soon lick you before bite you, but folks are scared of her. She was abused, and yeah, I feel the same way about motorcycles. Old ones that people don't care about, they're laying in the weeds, sitting forever, and don't need much work to get them up and running. I'm the kind of guy that'll buy them, get them up and running, and turn around and sell them to somebody who doesn't have money for a new bike. Get them out there on the road and enjoying life, enjoying the freedom that comes with riding a motorcycle. And I usually turn a small profit, not enough to quit my day job, but I do usually turn a little bit of a profit. But that's not the reason I do this. I do this because I thoroughly enjoy working on old motorcycles. And I want to try to share that gift that I've got with you guys. Didn't go to school for this, nothing like that. I've just been doing it all my life because I've been poor most of my life until the last 5 years. I've been poor. And always loved motorcycles, always wanted to ride, couldn't always afford a good one, so I had to buy these old beat up ones and get them running if I wanted to enjoy the freedom of riding motorcycles. So I'm an old school biker. That's how we did it. And there's a lot of us that are around. And most of us will gladly teach you everything we know. And that's what I like to do. And I try to do it here. So a couple more minutes and we'll be done. I said I'd go live for an hour. That's where we got, an hour. Channel has been expanding big time, man. I thank you guys dearly from the bottom of my heart, from the subs. I don't make a lot of money off YouTube. I do make a couple bucks, and that helps as the channel grows. That'll help me to bring in more projects. I got to pay bills and I got to live too. I can't spend all my money on motorcycles. So the little bit that I make off of doing this is getting thrown right back into the shop via equipment and via different bikes to fix up. So you hitting that like and subscribe button, you watching my videos, in a way, that's kind of charity too. It's not necessarily putting money in my pocket, but it will help to put someone on a motorcycle who desperately wants to ride and can't afford to go buy a new one, or maybe doesn't have a good credit score and can't finance one. That's where that money's going. Projects that I can bring in here, fix up, get running, and sell to somebody. You know, cripes, if I make $200 off it, I'm more than happy, as long as it pays for what I did and I can create content and teach somebody something. That's where I stand, man. That's what I love to do. All right. I'm going to check out here. We're going to go gas up the second car from Mrs. Phoenix Motorsports, go around, check the tire pressure, make sure the oil's checked. That car gets driven once a month just to keep the battery charged. It's been sitting and waiting for this day for a few months now. So got some other stuff to do that will not be on camera. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow around noon. If you want to check back in here, you should. If you've liked and you've subscribed and hit that little notifications button, you'll know when I'm live. And we'll throw some wrenches at that blue Sportster right quick, and we'll show you a little bit about leather care. We'll fix up the seat on that Suzuki Marauder. I cannot find my saddle soap, but a lot of folks would throw this seat away and get another one. This guy doesn't want to do that. If you know, you know, motorcycle seats are $300 to $500. Now, $300 to $500 for a set of tires, it's going to save your life on the road. Yes. $300 to $500 on a seat for that bike. Yeah. So we're going to see if we can fix up what we got, and that'll be tomorrow's video. Thank you so much for watching. The folks who like and subscribe, dude, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It makes it worth my while to do this. I will catch you guys tomorrow, hopefully around noon. See you later, man.